All right, guys, so I'm back right where I left off. I haven't done anything. Okay, so this is actually a pretty good stopping point for you to glue things down if you have to get certain, tasks done before you move on to the other one. I personally don't think this is a good stopping point. I'm going to tell you why. Because although you can see lots of area here, and this is black, so you may not be able to see too well. But you see how you can see some of the pages here, but this very next page, you can see a lot of the page area. So I'm very careful when I see things like that to mat so that I know whatever is going to be peeking out of here, it's going to look good. All right. So you want to pay close attention to that. So I'm going to, as opposed to opening this up and mat in here right away, I'm just going to flip my page. Okay. And, everything's going to fall over the place. Don't worry about it. Just ignore it. And I'm going to remember that piece that I cut over here that I cut too small for the center area. I'm going to use it here once again. And now I'm going to, here I've got this pocket here, which is a very good focal area. You can either do a picture here, or you can take this opportunity to put something fun, get an image, cut it down, and create something fun. And that's what I'm going to do. All right, so this is 4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it. 4 by 4, I'm going to leave it at 4 by 4. It's going to give me a bold border. This is actually going to be a half inch smaller than my matting area. So this will be a good example of a very bold border. Now, if you hate that bold border, and let me cut another piece of paper so you can see what's happening in the background. Okay, and this is, I know what I'm doing here already. I love this check paper. So I'm going to cut this down to size. I already know the measurement because I cut this already for the previous page, right? So I know that measurement already. So typically the first page is where you have to write everything down because you don't know what the heck. Oh, wrong. See, I was wrong. Different page. My bad. It is the same measurement. I cut wrong. I'm notorious for that, guys. My apologies. So please know that you're not the only one. Let me get another measurement just to be sure. Yep, nope, I cut incorrectly. My bad. See, I just put it to the side and I start again. I'm going to be able to use it more than likely, so I'm not fretting. So that's going to go there. So notice what's peeking out here, guys, right? That's going to peek out. So this is going to look like this. So I like to finish matting until I'm done with all the peaks. All right, I don't worry too much about a ½ inch showing, but this is way more than a ½ inch. So I want to absolutely be sure that I get a really nice matting look. And same paper, I'm going to flip it over to the back side. And let me measure again because I don't have a lot of that paper left. And am I in the right area for you to see me cutting? And I could use the branding strip here so that can be inside my pocket so I can have more paper. And I don't know that you find the cutting useful because it's making a mess at my desk, but whoopsie, this way. That didn't work out. My deer are upside down, so I'll use that for something else. Notice that I don't care. I just cut again. See, I need my deer to be right side up. So I'm going to cut again because I'm confident that I'll be able to use it somewhere else. And you want it for your pocket, you want to make sure that you're matting inside the pocket, that your photo mat is, your mat is going inside the pocket right over the little flaps. You'll notice when you go like this, it kind of gets caught. So you want it to go inside the pocket right over the flaps. I've gotten the question many times, why is it that you assemble your pocket before you mat? Because I like to mat over my pocket. Well, excuse me, over the mechanism of the pocket, so then my my photo mats just slip in without getting caught. All right, so look at this, guys. So we've got, see how this shows? We get a little deer poking its head out right there. Now we're going to have a little tree. And this is what you will see. Hold on, let me get everything back together. So this is what you see when you open the book. How cute is that? So you get a little tree poking out, you get a little bit of deers poking out. The colors are matching. It's not crazy. So it's important that you consider that. All right. So now I think that this is a good stopping point for me that I can mat. All right, this makes me very happy. Or I can cut these inside mats really quickly. And why not? Let's go for it. And then I glue everything down. How's that? So I've got lots of green here. I've got this red piece just kind of hanging out there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And let me get a quick measurement before I screw up again. Okay. Again, everything I'm cutting at 1/4 of an inch smaller than my page or the matting area, because it may not be a page. Okay, so these large areas here, I'm going to grab another piece of paper and I'm going to use something fun for this area here, because that's just going to have photo mats. And I know the size, but I can't help myself. I have to get another quick measurement because I don't want to screw up. And I don't care that I'm cutting into any image. Doesn't matter to me. I just go for it. I cut. Whatever I get, I get. That's what's going to be in my mat. See, so now when I open this up, this is what you're going to see. How super cute, right? Very total cuteness. Now here, you can cover that in pattern paper. I say absolutely. You don't want to do check, check, right? No, 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 no. This is too much craziness for me. So I'm going to get something that's very subtle, like this piece of paper on this side. Okay. And if you want to put a photo mat on here, if that's what you decide to do to create a small layout, you have a really nice backdrop to do that. All right. So there's my matting for this section. Now, what do? I'm going to show you. Close everything up. Very methodical, guys. There's a plan, a method to my madness. All right, so here we go. Now I ink. Okay, so where is my inking tool and my ink pad? I typically use black soot for everything. Okay, it's a very good color. Now you can get as messy or as clean as you want, and by that I'm not inking this one because you're not going to see that. But what I mean by that is you can give yourself a nice little, just to cover up that white edge, and the black just works beautifully in my opinion. But again, you can use whatever ink you want. Whatever ink you want. If you want a bolder look, which I don't recommend for this Christmas paper, but I'm going to show you, you just go around another few more times, okay? Or you really saturate your ink pad, which is perfect. All right, look at that. So again, what did we learn here while I'm inking? You decide how much of a border you want peeking out of your book, right? After you've laid your pattern paper down. Again, rule of thumb I would say is that 1/8 inch border. All right. If you want to go to one, it would be an 1/8 inch border. So that means you have to cut your paper 1/4 of an inch smaller or under the matting area. So if your matting area is 4 by 6, you're going to cut your mat at 3 3/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches. Okay, so 1/4 of an inch smaller for this fantastic 8 inch border. All right, beautiful. If you want a bolder border, which would be, I would say, a 1/4 inch border, you would cut your paper a 1/2 inch smaller than the matting area. Okay, that's it. It is that simple. All right, so now I'm inking everything up, and then I'm going to give you some gluing tips. Okay, so I'm not going to fast forward. I'm not going to put any music. I'm going to go through the process with you all. So if this is a snooze fest for you, oh well, you'll have to deal, party people, or fast forward. Okay, guys? Fast forward to when I'm actually gluing everything down. Okay? The only difference between when I'm matting on my own and when I'm matting here with you guys is that I have music on. I love music when I'm matting. It gets me in a nice little flow, and I'm just doing my little thing, and I'm having a ball. Okay? Now, this piece of paper is just driving me nuts. I'm just going to move it out of the way. Okay? All right, here we go. So I'm almost done with our matting. And again, just the inking just gives you a little bit of a pop. All right, it covers up that white core of the edge of the paper. It just gives you a much nicer, neater look to your project. Is inking an absolute must? No, it's not a must. But if you want, if you're going through all of the work to make these projects and you want to go, that's the extra mile. That's what inking is, the extra mile. All right, absolutely gives you a much more finished look, and you're absolutely going to enjoy your finished product more so than not inking, and you're going to find all sorts of imperfections. And you don't want that. Okay. And again, it's just covering up that white edge. I'm not doing anything too crazy. One thing I wanted to call out here for you. So this one I've got here, if you notice, I've got that 1/4 inch border. I really want to continue with my 1/8 inch border. So I'm going to cut another mat to mat that right on top of. Okay. And it's, again, this is my personal preference, but you're going to see what a big difference that'll be. Okay, so that goes there. So now that will look like that. And because we have some deer there, I just wanted to do one last thing, which I forgot to do before I started inking. My bad. I'm trying to see if I have any more long paper. I don't. Double checking. This ruler that I'm using, if you don't know, which I doubt it, but just in case, it is the Tim Holtz ruler, which is fantastic. I love it. I don't care what anybody says about it. It's the best ruler ever. Look at how fabulous that looks, my friends. This nice woody look here with the tree and then the deer over there on the side. Ah, total fabulosity. If you have ink sentiment, you can stamp that right there, or stamp sentiment. You can stamp it right there, or we can do other things and you shall see. All right, but let me ink this very quickly. Forgot I had to finish that up there. So if you notice what's happening here, I'm not taking out and putting back this tools over and over again. I'm not breaking out my ink pad, my trimmer, my glue, all, over and over and over and over, which kind of makes the matting process a little bit, not so pleasurable. But if you do it like this, if you can take all the papers flipping and flapping all over the place, there's some people who can take this organized chaos, and there's some people who just can't. All right. So you may want to, consider, or you can you can have a few little takeaways from this process and perhaps incorporate it into your process. All right. Like for instance, I just flipped that page over and I'm like, why not just finish that up there? Why not? So I'm going to leave this little space for a photo. All right, so I'm going to cut my photo mat down to size. I most certainly want that same red border again. because I think it's so appropriate. And I'm going to use the same woody looking paper. Uh-oh, what did I do here? Something went wrong. This must be shorter than everything else. It is. Must get rid of that because it messes up my whole vibe. That wasn't 4 by 6 exactly. Okay, so that would go there. And then this fabulous little paper, once again, will make an appearance right here. And just to be sure, another quick measure-roo so we can get that going. All right, now we're in business, people. So let me ink this up. And let me just ink, whoopsie, just slip that in there so it can stop annoying me. Let me ink this up. All right, this is so I don't get confused. This is my quick little place photo stamp here. So I know what this paper is for. Put that back. Put my trimmer back. So now before I move on to the next step, I kind of clean up my little area. Get my small pieces out of the way. Put them in my little small pile. All right, so I kind of do a little housekeeping so that I don't get overwhelmed. Okay, long pieces go together. Small pieces go in the small pile. See? Done. Done, done, done. 12 by 12 pieces are over here on my opposite side, right? So I don't get everything mixed up together. I don't like it. So, and everything's in front of me and I've got a rhythm going, guys. All right. So now what's next? Gluing. So very simple. I go right back to the beginning. Whoopsie, wrong side. I go right back to the beginning, my friends. And I put everything kind of in its place. You know, just so I don't glue something down to the wrong place. Like I did here. That goes here. My little piece goes here. This is for the inside. And then my outside piece is right here. I use a lot of paper clips just to kind of hold things down so they're not slipping everywhere until I get reorg. So I think I did green on the outside and then I did red and green on the inside. Okay? So, boom, boom. Now, what do? You got to pick an adhesive. You can use, put my glasses on. My eyes are getting a little tired. You can use a number of different adhesives, guys. You can use a dry adhesive, which would be a kind of tape or a tape runner, you know, some kind of Xyron thing. Or you can use a wet adhesive, and that would be a glue. All right. And crazy enough, I don't see my glue next to me, which is kind of odd because I use glue all the time. Probably rolled off my desk somewhere. Who knows? Oh well, it'll come up. You can use a glue, like a tacky glue, like a quick dry tacky glue. All right, and I just replaced my glue bottle. That's so weird. Oh well. Anyway, but recently I have discovered the Xyron machine and I love it. So I purchased, my first purchase was this one here. This is the Xyron Creative Station. It's the 2-in-1 9-inch and 5-inch adhesive. And then after I purchased this, which is absolutely fantastic, I said to myself, it would be ideal if they make a 12-inch machine. And of course, they have a 12-inch machine. So Guess what? I bought the 12-inch machine and I am in love with it. It's the Xyron 1200 and I'm going to show you what I do. Take my book, I put it to the side and only have to put it to the side because you guys cannot see my work area. Everything has a station. So I normally don't have to move anything. Okay, but for you guys, I want you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to move everything for you. So you would have to just bear with me and I have to put everything back in its place because then I can't find it. See, such as my glue. I can't find it now. I must have moved it. So now I have to move everything out of its nice little space to share with you all. All right, so here's the Xyron 1200. Right, it's a very sleek machine. What I dislike about this machine, I'll be honest, is this large feeding bed. I think it's unnecessary. All right, so let me see if I could get it both in here. So you get the idea. So Xyron 1200, you feed it in through here and you crank it. Boom, boom, boom right here. Mine is over to on my right hand side. I normally don't have to move it. I just have to feed. So I would have my book here. Here's my book. And then I just place it in there and I feed it. So what am I going to do here? For this one, I am not going to use a full sheet of adhesive to try to get it in that pocket because I will be hating life. So I'll use wet glue for that. But for here, super simple, guys. Watch the magic. How fast we're going to put this together. So the reason why I tell you to put your book back together is so you can feed accordingly. Okay? Let me get another paper clip so that everything is right exactly the way it should be. So now I'm going to take that. I'm going to take this piece. I'm absolutely going to take this little piece over here and put it right in there and just crank it, my friends. You can save adhesive, of course, by aligning your paper in a specific way. You can do all that stuff, of course. I learned in my class, some of the ladies put the smaller pieces down first so that they can, so that they'll put adhesive on two things at a time and they'll get an outline of adhesive. So there's all sorts of different ways that you can tackle this, guys. Hopefully you can see me putting everything into place. Just feeding it through my Xyron. I love it so much. I'm going to get that piece, and hopefully I have something smaller on this side that I can add. Perfect. This little piece right here. Like for instance, so they do this. And what happens is they get a border of adhesive around the perimeter and then adhesive in the middle. Okay. What did I say I was going to put? Oh, this one. I personally don't have patience for all of that, to kind of think about that. So I just run it. So what happens is it comes out in this fantastic little sheet of adhesive where everything is in order. You know exactly where it needs to go page by page, and you're all set. And you have full adhesive, end-to-end coverage, and it's just sheer perfection, guys. Truly, truly is. And there's also a little guide here that I will say that I dislike very much. And here's my last piece. And I'll show you. So then I get all of this. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Full of completely covered in adhesive. And I go back to the beginning. So this, I'm not going to be able to glue in because I can't find my glue. Gosh, what did I do with my glue? Oh well, I'll glue it in later on. I'm going to put a paper clip so it can stay stable. Because it's kind of annoying me when it's not stabilized. All right, so now here is my first page, so on and so forth. You can see all of this absolutely perfectness. That's even a word. So I quickly just kind of burnish with my hands or with my burnishing tool, just a quick run over. See, I did a really good job here where I didn't waste too much adhesive. But you guys get the idea. Just do it your way, all right? And there's that. And now I rip this thing off of the whole piece. So I prep everything, okay? So I don't have to go back to prepping, because having to go back for every little step is quite annoying. So then I rub this to get all the excess adhesive off. Can you imagine having to do this every single time you pull something off? You lose the joy. You don't want to lose the joy. So just go for it, guys. Prep, prep, prep. Whoopsie, don't want to do that. Get all that excess adhesive off because it does kind of creep around the edges. It wants to stay. And again, this is another tip I learned from my classes. For those people who've been using the Xyron forever in 10 days, apparently I was under a rock. All right, there's also, if you must, and I do use this, is also a little eraser that Xyron makes, and I'll show you when I use this. I don't use it here. All right, so now you're ready to mat, guys, which is just super fabulous. Okay, so if I remember correctly, just kidding, just kidding. This one went here, and I've turned my paper in all sorts of ways, my book. And you want to glue this down where you get an even border all the way around. Okay? See, you get that beautiful 1/8 inch border all the way around. For the inside cover, my little technique is you want to line it up with any binding things you have, any binding flaps that you have. Okay, so you get it once again inside the pocket, right? Over those flaps, bring it up, line it up with anything that's binding the pockets, it's attaching the pockets or the flaps so that you get a really nice cohesive look. You don't see any of the mechanism, right? See that, how beautiful? And then you just continue matting. Sometimes throughout the cleanup process, you don't get all of those little bits of adhesive up. You just don't. Nothing's perfect, guys. Nothing. So that's when I use this little eraser. And I just give it a quick pass through, and I get the little bits of adhesive up that I couldn't pick up the first time. So you can rip this off as you go along if it becomes to get in your way, and then you just continue peeling and sticking. And I tend to stand up for my matting for some reason. When I stand up, I can glue things on much more neatly. Much, much more neatly. I feel like I lost a piece, which I certainly did. What did I do with it? Oh, I found it. So remember, we want to keep a really nice cohesive look. Now we work our way to the inside. And I made a boo-boo. I put my adhesive on the wrong side, and I'm not going to live with that. I don't want to live with that. I'll wait to see if I like it. And if I do not, I'll cut another piece, guys. That's the way it is. I just cut another piece. I don't have a cow because I miscut a piece of paper. Just move on. I'll use it somewhere else. And again, I somehow, in order to get things straight, so right over that flap, look for that 1/8 inch border, and it's perfect every time. So if you have that 1/8 inch border down at the bottom, you know the top should be right if you cut properly. But apparently my head screwed on wrong. I cut these two pieces incorrectly. See that? I cut wrong all the time. Apparently I cut all of these wrong. I measured wrong, guys. I only cut one properly. So let me measure this one. And if you take my classes, my live classes, you see this. I do this all the time. This is nothing new. I make mistakes all the time. So let me measure this one. 2 3/4, which is what I thought I did. But I did 3. So just to get that right now, all I do is I get my cutting surface, get my ruler, and I gotta say this paper comes in very handy. Remember this piece that I just got rid of? I'm simply just gonna cut off 1/4 of an inch and call it good, guys. It is that simple. See? Done. Got that one. This one, I don't muck up my trimmer with adhesive. And done. All right. So now let's put all this back. Let's get this out of my way. Let's get my book back. And now I can just simply get my inking tool, because you want to ink that back up. And voila. It's voila. I don't know why I say voila sometimes. Inking tool. Inking tool. Alrighty, right there. Now that I have all this matted, let's see if I can live with this mat. Yeah, you see, I can't live with that. That's just too choppy for me. This is a good look for me right here. So I'm just going to cut another piece, guys. Or let's see what I have in these long pieces. Maybe I have something that will match. Okay. And it looks like I do, actually. We've got this plain old red. Ooh, I love this. So I'm going to use that. Get another quick measurement. And I'm not throwing this out for a reason, because I can totally use those 1/4 inch strips in my style of matting. So I'm going to put it somewhere, hopefully that I won't lose it, right? Because you know how we lose everything. Let me get another quick measurement. Okay. And I got another fabulous piece I can use for something else. So this piece goes in that pile. Whoopsie, messed up my piles. Trimmer goes back in the trimmer pile. And because I'm not just going to run this through my Xyron, because I'm going to waste a lot of adhesive, I'll just put some tape on there. And this is how I used to do it before I discovered my the Xyron, which would take me forever and 10 days to mat a book. I used to put tape all the way around the perimeter, or wet glue, but with wet glue I am very messy with the wet glue, so I tried not to use it. And this used to take me forever and 10 days. Lots of people use their ATG gun. I do not like using an ATG gun only because it hurts my shoulder. The repetitive movement of that swiping motion, I can't do it. So that's the only reason, not because of the adhesive. It's a fantastic tool. I own it. All right. So look at how fabulous we got that done. This is for photo mats, and we'll get back to that. All right. And for this, I would like to use a paper clip. Now let's come over here and let's continue with our matting. All right, so I'm going to put this right over here. Oh, you know where I'm going to put this at? Over here. Okay, so now I can just lose all of this. It's not in my way. Alrighty, so now I have two mats that I'm going to get down. One here. Hopefully you don't see my big old head in the way. And this one. And let's get this one down. I love that I have the same paper both here and here. I love that. Okay. Because it doesn't look choppy. This one will be a little tricky to mat. This one you got to go inside here. See that? Look for that 1/8 inch border on this just one side. And then once you stick it down to the other side, you should be fine. Okay. Open that up one more time. Love this pocket style. And this is just pattern paper. Can you imagine when we're done with adding embellishments, photo mats, and all of that good stuff? So again, from one side, look for that 1/8 inch border, top, bottom, and all the way around, and then follow through. Look at that perfect matting you got. Again, look for that 1/8 inch border, and then just follow through, my friends. Perfect. And last piece. And this one, I'm going to do upside down. This makes my life easier. So tuck it inside the pocket. Try this again. Just open up that pocket just a little bit. Tuck it inside that pocket. Carefully. Look for that 1/8 inch border at the top. And then you get a perfect mat. Beautiful. See, we're all done with this section. All done with this section. Now, I highly recommend if you're using the Xyron, just take that eraser wherever you need to, because what happens is your pages will stick. You know, you get those little bit of glue residue around the perimeter. And it's not everywhere, it's just in some cases where you miss it the first time around. All right, now look at that, how super pretty. There, we finished our first section of matting, and I have to say, really, really fabulous. Super cute. Got a photo area already, and now we'll move on to the next section. So I'll stop this video and we'll be right back.